Right. How many got? So 1 section on my left, 2 section front, 3 section right. Confirm.
Yep.
Yep.
Roger. Why is there only 4 in 1 section?
Because, yeah.
Roger.
Did it
Right.
for them anyway.
Okay. Right, lads. Let's get started. So, obviously, we've had Operation Swift Response. Our response is to the People's Liberation Army, which is the Chinese army essentially, have invaded Brunei. Our response, because they are operating United Nations, we are to respond and counterattack the PLA. Okay, so we'll be operating in tropical environment. So, what does that mean? That means the Earth's tropical environment is fucking hell. Right, they are defined as the region of the middle of the Earth lying between the latitudes of the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn. All right. So jungle. The term jungle is used to describe the most extreme variation of the tropical environment. There are 3 categories of jungle. Primary jungle. The jungle has generally remained untouched by man and has thick canopy and clear floor, enabling reasonably easy movement and visibility of around 20 meters. Secondary jungle. The jungle has thick undergrowth created through rapid growth after an area has been cleared. In areas of secondary jungle, movement will be slow, heat, lack of canopy, and visibility will be reduced. Cultivated jungle. This will include areas such as rice paddies, which will tend to be open, hot, dirty, swampy, rubber, palm oil plantations, which will offer same characteristics to primary jungles, except for the fact that trees will be straight. All right. So, what do you think, top of your head, which is the best kind of jungle to be operating in?
Any that's thick.
Right. Okay. Any other suggestions?
Secondary.
Secondary. Say again?
Primary.
Well done. Yeah, they are primary because it's untouched and we can see through visibility.
Oh shit.
Close enough, but good luck. Right. So, operational maps. We have 2 operational maps. So this one is Fox Hutan. This will be used for our training map. Note that the map will be very different to where we're operating in, alright? So the map we're operating is RHS PKL, which is essentially our Brunei map. That'll be our operational map. Now, the jungle in that environment is much thicker and it is massive. And basically, our SOP variations will change. So that's where we're coming next. So, head protection. You've all got good jungle hats on. So jungle hats will be worn and helmets will be kept in our backpacks or slung. Helmets will only be worn when we are operating outside FIWAF areas or conducting FIBUA. Rates of fire. When operating in the jungle at all times you will switch to automatic fire. You will not do deliberate fire otherwise stated, or you're in open ground. Ammunition. In normal conventional warfare, we would usually keep to about 10 mags per rifleman. However, using automatic fire all the time in jungle warfare, we result in ammunition depletion very quickly. So ammunition will be uplifted by 50%. That'll be dealt by the Section 2 ICs. Sights. When operating in February, any target that is less than 200 meters, you will use a red dot sight or known as a CQB sight. So that's the top sight in your rifle. So in the jungle, the same term is used in the jungle as view is obstructed more and visibility is less. You would use a red dot sight instead of the 4 times scope. All right. Scout pair, lead scout, and cover scout will be implemented and act as a point man patrol to advise the section on enemy positions or patrols. Quads. The company assets and company aid posts will now operate quad bikes to transport and provide logistical support in the jungle, as it has been proven to be suitable in the terrain. Explosive devices. Explosive devices will now known as booby traps, not IEDs. Is changed because of the war we are fighting. IEDs is improvised, while booby traps are more back in the old days. All right. So booby traps. What are the 2 booby traps we will most likely find, lads?
Bungee sticks and the small shell one.
Yeah, well done. Nice one. All right. So jungle hazards. Effects of climate, flash floods, deadfall, flora, and fauna. All right. Does anybody know what fauna means?
Animals.
Yeah, well done. Nice one. So effects of climate. So the climate that we'll be operating in now. Lucky for us, we haven't got food and water system anymore, so don't bother as much. So obviously, in real life, effects of climate. Obviously, we get dehydrated more quickly and it'll be a bit more sluggish, and we get a bit more tired. But because that's been removed, we don't have to worry about that. Flash floods, lucky for us, an armour that doesn't happen to us, but in real life, flash floods, it can happen at any time in part of the jungle. Flora and fauna, animals, so luckily for us again, animals will not be operating on the map, unfortunately, so you won't be getting eaten alive. The effects that a jungle environment will have on military operations are visibility. Visibility seldom might be over 50 meters. Contact with the enemy in such conditions will be at very close range, and fleeting contacts, meeting engagements will be common. Limited mobility, so roads and tracks will be scarce, and those that will exist to deteriorate quickly to jungle growth and tropical conditions. That's why we can't use Land Rovers and Warriors. All right. Limited resupply. So obviously we've re-implemented quads instead of Land Rovers and big Fox sounds because the roads and supply routes will be limited. Helicopters and otherwise will be also an extra support to us. All right. Wide dispersal force. Troops will be required to operate over greater distances for long periods in order to dominate the ground from the enemy. Difficult command and control, C2, limited visibility. The wide dispersal of a force and limited communications all restrict command and control. Clear and detailed orders will be required as command control will rest heavily with junior commanders. This is because the terrain that we're operating in, we're not going to see each other very closely. All right. Limited firepower. The jungle will restrict our ability to engage the enemy with accurate fire. Direct fire weapons will be used at very close range, and indirect fire weapons will be used to impact unobserved. All right. Assets. Assets that will be operating with us is the fire support group, or known as gun section, AT section, mortar section. Aviation, that's from 7th Squadron RAF and 656 Squadron AAC, part of one reg. There's also some information. Area briefs. These are broad summaries of basic intelligence containing detail of the topograph. Now, what the fuck that says? Climate, communications, population, politics, and economics of the territory concerned. Air reconnaissance that will be conducted by RAF and AAC through the Wildcat. Air reconnaissance, either photographic or visual, can help in determining the shape of ground in identifying settlements, crops, trails, and tracks. The value of this type of reconnaissance will vary according to the character of the country and the degree of concealment it provides. Ground reconnaissance. Ground reconnaissance is vital in the jungle. All units need to make full use of the reconnaissance elements to locate the enemy at the earliest opportunity. Intelligence officers. In suitable areas, field intelligence officers may be in touch with the civilian population. There's no civilian population because either got shot. Local population. The cooperation of the local population can provide valuable sources of information on the terrain and the enemy. In addition, the inherited developed skills of local trackers are a worthwhile asset. Police and local security forces. There'll be none in the operational area. However, there will be other NATO forces such as the US. Surveillance. There are many I-STAR assets available for intelligence gathering, from unmanned ground sensor to base I-STAR camera towers and balloons. Tracker teams. Tracker teams will not be used for us. The going roadmap. Use of updating of the going roadmap. Okay. Does anybody have any questions so far?
Nope.
No, right. Well, that's literally part 1. So that's literally it, lads, for part 1. Part 2 will be given next week on the 16th, and then the week after, which is 23rd. If the lads who are not here now, obviously I'll be messaging them. Don't worry. You'll get a little full guide anyway on the 30th, basically stating what I've basically read out. If you've not understood what I've said today, all right. This is basically what we just made up on the spot because.